Hello, I'm Anabella Wewer, and this is Mosaic Arts Online. In this course, we go on a journey of understanding color theory and the interactions of color as it applies to our art form. Using paper, watercolors, and other methods employed by the pioneers who studied color and helped us understand how we perceive it, we will explore how to use color effectively in our compositions. Using some of the principles of color theory, you will discover how to make better choices when selecting the color of substrates, grout, and adhesives, and even make color that is not physically present. We look at color gradations in depth and use color theory to achieve methods used by the Impressionists and the Pointillists to make color vibrate and provide visual interest to our work. You will learn to mix colors effectively in flat and three-dimensional forms and study color mixing and shading. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started.
Anabella, thank you so much for coming to Mosaic Arts Online, especially with this topic and this course. It's been on my radar for a long time, so I'm really thrilled you're here with it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun for me.
Awesome. Let's dive right in. So for you, color has been a big part of your life, in many aspects of your life, right?
Yeah.
But you're here to teach how to merge everything you know about color with mosaic. So can you elaborate a little more on that?
Sure. So I'm a graphic designer, and color has always been part of my professional career, certainly. But I also was born in Venezuela, which is the home to Maestro Cruz Diez, who likes to say that color happens. And what he means by that is that light and just the shading and reflections all make us perceive color differently. I wasn't aware that that was happening as I saw his artwork sort of all over the city and even on the sidewalks and crosswalks. But it's always definitely been ingrained. When I started trying to understand the more three-dimensional aspect of mosaic and why some color combinations were not working for me that had actually worked on paper before, I started thinking more about the shading and what happens when we have interstices and what the color that is underneath, how that affects the color of the tesserae that I'm using. I tended to think, oh well, I like black, so all my substrates are going to be black, but that's not always the right answer.
Right. So this is a theory class, so it's a lot about exercises and different ways to see color. So this is really like getting a semester of color theory in one online course. But elaborate a little more on the different sorts of exercises. You have paint chips out here, you have yarn out here. That doesn't seem like a normal mosaic online course, but it definitely serves its purpose.
Yeah. So color is, a lot of it is the perception on how we perceive color and how each color interacts with the one next to it, and a lot to do with what our eyes do when we see color in general. One of the challenges we had here is what the camera does, which is different than what our eyes do. But there are very simple exercises that really show what happens when we look at a color next to each other and when there is separation. And I went back to read the original treatises from the 1800s that kind of propelled the Impressionists to do the work they did in mixing color. And they use paper a lot. They use yarn. The Chevreul, who wrote one of the treatises that was perhaps the most influential, was a chemist working in fibers for a carpet factory, and so it felt natural to use his same method, which was to wrap yarn
and
on.
all of these are from close to the 1800s when the color wheel was first, coming into being, right?
Yeah. We have some modern color wheels, but I think those are so beautiful.
And I think one of the ways that a lot of people in mosaic will apply this is that maybe when they're making a mosaic, they love to use color, but things are going wrong. And could it be because of color?
Sure. We tend to obviously pick the colors that we like the most and the palette that we like the most. We're often picking color away from each other, so we're at a show or ordering from a supplier and we pick the one color that we like, and then when it comes next to the other one, things happen. And so that's what we're trying to address, so that it's not it's not to say that people need to always have color theory at the forefront when creating or when making colors. We don't want to take away the freedom, but it is important to know when something doesn't seem right. It is very, very often the color that is not working. So we also talk about working on something that's going to be inside under sort of control light versus perhaps an outdoor work, or what happens with gallery lighting and how that affects the color and how we see it.
Yeah. No, there is a lot that is covered in this course. It has a lot of exercises, a lot of aha moments, and a lot of ways that you would take this information and then apply it to your mosaics, have sample boards made that you'll be able to refer to all the time. This course is so rich in color, and I cannot thank you enough for coming here, and you are the master, so we are so lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks.